Hello friends, this is Carrie and welcome back to I Like Reddit channel. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. Friends, today we have 3 stories out of the JustNoHOA subreddit. So, let's begin. Our first story is posted by homeowner Phil. HOA Karen raided my house for toilet paper, disinfectant, and hand sanitizer. This happened over a year ago during the height of the pandemic, so mid-2020. I, 29 male, am a homeowner. I bought a house in 2019 from my uncle because he was well set and wanted to retire to a second home by a lake. Before buying the house, my uncle warned me that the neighborhood has an HOA, but it only affects those who joined it, and my uncle did not. But the price my uncle was offering was half of what the home was actually valued at. I couldn't pass up the offer. So I bought the house in an HOA neighborhood that I wasn't a part of. Right after I moved in, I got a knock at the door. And when I opened it, I was greeted by an older woman with short graying blonde hair and a face covered in thick makeup and was holding a welcome to the neighborhood gift basket. She introduced herself as the president of the HOA, then asked to come in so that she could help me fill out some forms. I knew what she was trying to do because my uncle warned me that she did this to every new homeowner in the area who wasn't part of the HOA. So I quickly and bluntly stated that I was not planning on joining the HOA. Her smile quickly disappeared and she started saying that I had no choice as all new homeowners are mandated to join. I told her that I knew in advance that this was a total lie and that I will not be paying any dues or fines and will be ready to call a lawyer if I have to. She called me a thorn in the side of the neighborhood and said that she would be back. Though we did not speak to each other for some time. I expected her to start sending me fines in the mail, but the most I usually got were letters stating that my grass was getting too tall or that my driveway needed sweeping. Those never bothered me because those are normal home chores that need to be done regularly anyway. But several of the neighbors that were on the HOA side made it clear that they didn't like me because I didn't join the HOA like my uncle. I said that was fine. We're neighbors, but we don't have to be friends. They said that was fine because I'm an outsider and they would never accept me until I joined the HOA. Later in early 2020, I got word from a friend that people were starting to buy a lot of disinfectant, toilet paper, and hand sanitizer en masse. I decided that the best option was to order these things online. I got 8 big 12 packs of toilet paper and about 20 cases of hand sanitizer, 3 boxes of disposable latex gloves, a couple of boxes of disposable face masks, and a case of 20 cans of name brand disinfectant spray. I set the delivery to be signed for only as I didn't trust anyone not to steal my packages if they were left on my porch. When the packages were delivered, several of my neighbors saw me getting a lot of toilet paper and some packages containing other stuff. And just because I'm a paranoid guy, I still bought more of the same stuff when I saw it in the store. Like those cheap 4-packs of toilet paper, off-brand disinfectant spray. I bought them because I had a feeling that some friends and family might need them soon. And I was right. As expected, toilet paper, disinfectant, and sanitizer was pretty much disappearing from store shelves for miles around. People were fighting over hoarding it. Meanwhile, I got a very generous supply that I still haven't come close to using up. Though word of my supply got around fast, and when people started needing some, a friend of mine ran out of toilet paper and had no hand sanitizer. I gave him a couple of generic 4-packs of toilet paper, a bottle of sanitizer at my door. A few family members ran out too, and I shared with them as well. They were all extremely grateful, but I ended up with several neighbors knocking on my door and asking to buy my supply or wanting handouts. I refused. I said I only gave some away to friends and family, and that they made it pretty clear to me that they would never be my friends since I refused to join their HOA. So if I were to give some to one neighbor, they would all want my supplies, and I'd run out really fast. They didn't like that and they harassed me several times from the sidewalk, but I just ignored them. Later, HOA Karen showed up at my door and told me several neighbors had run out of the items that this post is about, and then said that she wasn't asking but demanding I share my stock with the neighbors to set a good example. I told her to buzz off, that had nothing to do with me. I may be a jerk, but I'm a well-prepared jerk. And I've read through the bylaws for the HOA online, so even if I was a member of the HOA, which I was not, I wouldn't have to give up my stock either way. She left while yelling at me that one day I'd regret not being a good neighbor or being part of her HOA. The next day when I went to work, I was notified around noon by the cameras I had in my house that there was a thief breaking into my house. I could see the video of them on my smartphone, and it looked like a woman in a spandex suit with her face covered with a hockey mask. I called the police immediately and was allowed to clock out at work so that I could rush home. Right around the time I got there, the cops were walking HOA Karen out in handcuffs to the police cruiser. She broke into my house using a crowbar to force open my back door and was tossing all of my toilet paper and other supplies out into my backyard where her kids were picking it up and bagging it. I pressed charges on HOA Karen and she got 6 months in jail and probation. HOA Karen's husband called me to apologize for his wife and told me that he had been planning to divorce her for a while because this wasn't her first run-in with the law. And CPS got involved too because she was using her kids to help steal from me. So he was filing for full custody in the divorce. HOA Karen didn't return, and someone new was elected HOA president in her place. Her husband didn't move, and I see him from time to time, and there's no hard feelings between us. And yes, he did get full custody of the kids because his wife had a longer history with the law than I thought. We're sort of friends too. We occasionally share a beer together, and he helped me replace the back door that his ex broke. I'm making this post more than a year later because I saw HOA Karen again. I was visiting some friends in another city and saw her working at a local supermarket, bagging their groceries. As soon as we saw each other, she obviously recognized me because she scowled and refused to look up at me the entire time I was there. Karma's a real witch, isn't it, Karen? If you're enjoying the content so far, please put a heart emoji in the comment section down below. Our next story is posted by Serena Usagi. HOA mistakes me for my cousin's wife. Back when I was 18, I'm now 26 female, I was helping my cousin, 30 male, and his newlywed wife, 25 female, move into their new home that happened to have an HOA. I was carrying boxes into the house, and I was covered in sweat. As I was enjoying some rest and a bottle of water, one of the HOA members came up to me to introduce himself. We exchanged pleasantries, and he asked, "So, how long have you and your husband been married?" After that, I told him please wait, and I brought the actual married couple out to meet the HOA member. They came out and the man's face dropped. Then he faked a phone call from the HOA and left. We didn't know anything was wrong at the time. Not even a week after they moved in, I got a call on my cell phone from my cousin. He said that the police were raiding his house for possible drugs. I know my cousin. He has the criminal record of a Boy Scout. Every time he gets a prescription for painkillers, he either shreds the note or dumps the pills down the toilet due to the fear of addiction. The police found nothing and left. They apologized. The very next day, his wife was stopped by the police in her own driveway. That she was suspected of being a woman of the night, even though she was wearing a pantsuit from her job as a cardiologist. They called her hospital to confirm her whereabouts, and she was let go. The police came back a day later after someone claimed that his wife was breaking into their home. How can someone break into their home through their front door with their own keys? After a month, the HOA came up to them claiming that they're a nuisance and attempted to put a lien on their house for so many calls to the police. Luckily, my cousin's brother is a lawyer and fought against the lien in court. At court, the HOA member met the couple on day one and was revealed to be the one who sent the cops after them so that they will be kicked out of the neighborhood. As it turns out, that person testified that he didn't want their kind in his perfect neighborhood. Everyone in the room was dumbstruck. The HOA lawyer immediately dropped the case, apologized to my cousin and his wife. The HOA member was kicked out of the neighborhood for racism. As it turns out, he also called the police on every other African American or brown person that even passed by his house. Since then, they moved out of the neighborhood after she got a better offer in her field. I forgot to mention that she's black and my cousin's white. Our final story is posted by Little Bit Evil. HOA moved in on my uncle. About 25 years ago, my aunt and uncle moved into a new construction single-family home, a neighborhood on half an acre. About 6 months after they moved, he was informed that his neighborhood was being taken over by an HOA. He disregarded his HOA application as he did not wish to join. Not long after this, random neighbors began complaining to him directly about the boat and cars in his driveway, violating the HOA rules. He just informed that the often rude people that he was not a member of the HOA, and they would argue with him that everyone was a member. One of the major issues is that his driveway, garage, and the front yard was on the main level of his house, and his backyard dropped off a cliff to be level with his basement and backyard. So he had no way to back his boat around the side of his home into his backyard. Eventually, the HOA began harassing him with threats if he didn't move his boat into the backyard. His backyard had been closed off by a vinyl fence installed by the HOA and lined another road back there. So one day my uncle decided to compromise by trying to take down a section of the back fence so that he could make a gate for his boat parking access. The HOA called the police on him for destruction of property. The police left my uncle with a warning that he had to return the fence to its original condition by the end of the day. Uncle put the fence back up and placed his boat back in his driveway. Now the fines started coming. Week after week, month after month. When the fines reached around $10,000, the HOA filed a lawsuit against him. He countersued for harassment, street access to his backyard. In court, the HOA showed the HOA property and showed that my uncle's house was in the middle of the HOA, explained the violations the police report filed over the back fence. My uncle explained that he never signed up for the HOA and moved into the neighborhood before the HOA existed, never gave them permission to fence his backyard in, providing all the mortgage documentation, blank HOA forms with the HOA security stamp and date. The HOA argued that it didn't matter if he turned in an application because he was within the HOA borders. The judge declared my uncle's property was grandfathered as private property and not part of the HOA. The HOA was to immediately take down their illegal fence on the back border of my uncle's lot, and since the HOA fined my uncle upwards of $10,000 in illegal fines, my uncle was owed $10,000 in damages for harassment. My uncle rebuilt his yard fence to see through the chain link with a gate where he can park all of his toys in full view. He moved the boat back into the driveway of his front lawn, let the lawn die, paved over it, all 10 feet from his front door to the sidewalk. HOA neighbors in decades since still approach him to complain, and he just tells them to take a walk knowing that there's nothing they can do to him. That's all the stories I have for today. Links to the original Reddit post will be in the description box below. Please stop on by Reddit to show the OP some love and an upvote. If you enjoy my videos, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to let you know when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.